Welcome to Cisco's Internet of Things training. I'm Elisa, and this is the IoT Big Data and IOX module. Before continuing, please make sure that you have completed modules A1 through A5, which provide background information useful for understanding this module's content. At the end of this module, account managers should be able to demonstrate knowledge of the relationship between big data and IoT, the basic capabilities of FOG and IOX, how to recognize a FOG IOX opportunity, and what to do after identifying an opportunity. In this module, we will cover data generated by IoT solutions, problems with traditional cloud computing, an overview of FOG computing, an overview of data in motion, opportunities for FOG computing, and services available to partners. The Internet of Everything is the networked connection of people, process, data, and things. By combining these components, network connections become more relevant and valuable than ever before. The value to the business, however, does not come through connections alone. It involves collecting data from connected devices and analyzing it to provide decision makers with greater insight about their world and the people around them. So let's talk about IoT Big Data and IOX. As we've discussed in earlier trainings, an interesting event took place in 2006. For the first time ever, the number of smart devices in the world exceeded the global human population. All of these devices produce data every day in increasing quantities. Energy and utilities companies have over 1.1 billion connected data points, each generating over 500 gigabytes of data every day. In the consumer-produced goods industry, each machine in each factory can produce 13 billion data samples daily. One single oil refinery produces 1 terabyte of data each day, and a single aircraft can produce 10 times that amount in only 30 minutes of flight. Multiply that by each flight taken, and planes generate petabytes of data daily. From the beginning of human history up until recently, the human race created 2 exabytes of data total. Now we generate that amount every single day. These machines often create more data than we can manage, and this data isn't useful on its own. It needs to be consolidated and turned into meaningful insight. Let's take a look at a business hierarchy of information exchange. At the bottom layer is a torrent of incoming data. This data must be collected, compiled, and analyzed to reveal some semblance of information. This information, set in proper context, provides a knowledge base on which decision makers can build. This base provides the foundation for scenario planning and market predictions that help define business goals and objectives. Transforming raw machine data into a meaningful business direction requires some significant analysis capabilities. That's where the power of big data comes in. Big data uses cloud computing to turn IoT data into action. It can compile and analyze data generated across an entire business. Data from every sensor, every device, and every endpoint that can connect can be sent to the cloud. Scalable engines in the cloud deliver big picture analyses, detecting user trends across individual locations or across the entire company. With so much data available, it has never been easier to make correlations and discern how to improve operations. Causes for equipment downtime, customer buying habits, and patient health conditions can be determined from analyses on large amounts of data. These big picture observations enable predictive insights. Robust analytics generate expected outcomes for businesses, while sandboxing capabilities allow users to simulate different scenarios. The results can help inform decision makers of the best course of action. For instance, retailers may look at overall buying trends for the past several years when determining how to design store layouts during the holiday seasons. The cloud also provides the ability for scalable, automated actions based on received information. For example, preset policies for temperature sensors across a network infrastructure simply alert management for technicians, mitigating downtime and decrease productivity. Big data in the cloud can provide tremendous value for a business, but sometimes very practical realities can prevent the cloud from being the most efficient solution. First of all, bandwidth is limited. While cloud computing can handle a tremendous amount of information, only a finite amount of data can be sent at one time. Furthermore, bandwidth isn't free. Expanding infrastructure or exceeding limitations comes at a price, one that many companies are not willing to spend. Finally, sometimes we need information at the speed of light. Action is needed right now. Remember the hierarchy of information exchange we looked at earlier? These 3 challenges make that progression from data to knowledge and wisdom much more daunting. But that's where Cisco can help. We shift the paradigm of big data from the cloud to the network edge and deliver big data results through fog computing. Fog shifts how data is processed. In the traditional computing model, data is first transmitted to the cloud and stored. From there, it's analyzed, and commands are sent to act upon the stored information. Finally, operators are notified. But with the practical realities we mentioned on the earlier slide, we change up the order and location of events. The Cisco fog computing model analyzes data out on the edge, notifies people when needed, and takes local actions as necessary. In this way, fog helps mitigate the costly need to constantly move data around. This model is not replacing the cloud, quite the contrary. We look at this as a continuum of ever-increasing value. Fog computing takes that torrent of data, turns it into information, and takes local actions as needed. Then the information is sent to the cloud, where it can be further analyzed and turned into knowledge and wisdom. This step is critical in accelerating the Internet of Things today with your customers. So help your customers take advantage of all of the values of fog computing, and help them get started right now in the fog with Cisco IOX. Cisco is taking communication and the best of internetworking via Cisco iOS and combining it with the best of open source, compute, storage, and memory on a single platform at the network edge. Now companies can monitor and act upon sensor information with their devices, regardless of interface or application. They can even bring their own interface and applications and run them on Cisco network devices, like our CGR 1240 or 819 ISR. IOX is just one part of the fog story, but with it, you can optimize data through applications at the network edge. It begins with the sensors and endpoints all transmitting data through the platforms at the network edge. Each router has 2 processors. We run iOS on one and enable customers to run open source operating systems on the other. They can then create and deploy applications they need on this operating system. This is where the serious partner opportunities are demonstrated. In addition to selling IOX solutions to customers, partners can also develop and deploy customer applications at the network edge. Each sale may bring potential continuing revenue opportunities as well. Cisco provides SDKs to assist our partners in this application development process. This feature sets you apart from your competition and brings you closer to your customer's business by meeting their specific needs. Because IOX uses platforms and operating systems familiar to Cisco users, onboarding applications often requires only minor adjustments to get up and running. Built-in management capabilities enable customers to start, stop, or update their applications once they are operational. All of this is provided under this software framework we call IOX. So what does IOX look like in a real-world application? When the results from an endpoint's temperature sensor are displayed in a management console for the first time, it's important information to know. But every minute for the next 40 years, it will likely keep saying the same thing. Combine this with hundreds of other sensors in the network infrastructure. Not only is the data boring, but the massive quantity makes it difficult to find the important information. As we've seen, sending all of this data for analysis can be expensive and unnecessary. And what you really care about are the thresholds. Did it ever get too high or too low? Instead, we send the data to the network edge, where applications analyze the data for relevant information. Data continues to be pushed to the cloud for further analysis and storage. When a sensor registers beyond the threshold, the router at the network edge immediately notifies staff and sends an alert to the monitor. Later analysis in the cloud shows the correlation between the number of machines running and the increase in temperature spikes, so the problem can be corrected. This entire data and motion system detects the issue and then uses role-based data normalization to bring the problem to light. Dynamic sensor pooling keeps track of all endpoints, while the cloud uses data understanding and information caching to provide more robust analysis. With IOX, you can process relevant information and turn it into action. Now that we've looked at the importance of IOX, how do you recognize opportunities? IOX opportunities are available in any industry. We've looked at these verticals in other modules. So let's see how IOX can provide value in these industries. Globally, the next wave of business opportunity in the rail sector is all about safety and reliability. Harsh environments multiply hazards on the rails, increasing the risk of derailment and other serious problems. This not only results in wasted profits due to equipment downtime, but also poses serious injury risks to passengers, workers, and nearby citizens. So how can IOX help? Cisco IOX provides information faster to avoid problems and help maximize uptime. Positive train control is a fail-safe solution that augments the capabilities of an engineer to avoid collisions. But for this solution to work, information is needed immediately. By implementing switches, routers, servers, and access points on each train, we can analyze information from each train car and provide instant feedback to engineers. Sending everything to the cloud for analysis may cost precious time needed to avoid serious problems. When identifying opportunities in the transportation industry, you can use trigger questions to assess the potential sale. Ask the customer questions like, do you have technology in place to help avoid collisions? And how much does downtime cost your business? Costly equipment failure isn't just a concern of the transportation industry. When oil companies are not stressing over potential spills from train derailments, they fear the damage and lost revenue from a major pipeline spill. In some parts of the world, oil pipelines stretch great distances, carrying hundreds of thousands of oil barrels per day. Leaks may not be discovered for days after the initial spill. Pipelines are not the only things susceptible to undetected leaks. A storage unit at a chemical plant spilled 7,500 gallons of toxic substance into the ground, leaving 300,000 nearby residents without usable water for days. These companies need the ability to detect leaks and react quickly. So how can IOX help here? Cisco IoT offers a way to deploy data aggregation and other critical applications across those thousands of kilometers of oil pipelines, and IOX helps customers analyze that data in real time. Sensors monitor pressure measurements, flow rates, and video footage of the surrounding area. If pressure drops or if video captures fluid pooling on the ground, commands are automatically sent to slow down the pumping of oil and alert the closest maintenance crew. When assessing potential opportunities, ask your customers, what would real-time leak detection do for your business? How comprehensive is your visibility into pipelines? Visibility is also a major concern of manufacturing companies. Manufacturing plants use a lot of energy, and when they go above certain utilization, costs per unit can dramatically increase. Most manufacturing networks are segmented between the plant and headquarters. They pull information from manufacturing networks, corporate ERP systems, and HR systems in order to predict and manage energy costs. Now, how can IOX help here? Once customers bring all the right systems together, IOX enables them to build an application on the network edge with thresholds and policies that alert operators to an approaching peak and show gaps in the schedule. By putting these applications on the router, production loads can be pushed to these gaps or shifted to another plant with more capacity automatically. This reduces energy consumption and associated costs. Machine data can also be analyzed faster and technicians notified of problems instantly. When encountering a manufacturing opportunity, you should ask, do you have variable workloads and energy use requirements? Could increased automation reduce downtime expenses? IOX provides cost savings for a single plant, but what can it do for an entire city? In today's city infrastructure and design, when an ambulance is dispatched to respond to a crisis, it relies on GPS and a little bit of luck to get to the patient as quickly as possible. And in crowded cities, congestion often delays the emergency vehicle. Any extra minutes an emergency responder takes to reach a patient can mean the difference between life and death. How can IOX help? IOX analyzes traffic information at the edge to improve emergency response times. Edge devices on an emergency vehicle can analyze location information, traffic congestion, traffic light data, and patient condition to predict the best routes to hospitals. It can then automatically relay information to traffic light controllers to adjust street congestion to shorten a route. Processing this information at the edge keeps large amounts of information from being sent to and from the cloud, wasting city budgets on unnecessary data transfer. When encountering a smart city opportunity, a seller should ask questions like, do you have a way to synchronize lights for emergency vehicles? Would reducing congestion improve city operations? As smart cities grow, they place increasing demands on utilities providers. A common challenge for utility companies is dealing with ever-changing loads caused by shifting demands throughout the day. This puts significant strain on transformers, where a single malfunction can cause power outages throughout major portions of a city. Without constant monitoring, utility companies have limited visibility into transformer health, meaning they must use extra resources to provision more transformers ahead of time. How can IOX help? IOX analyzes information from sensors connected to each transformer to constantly measure changing loads. By analyzing these things at the edge, customizable policies can automatically bring another transformer online when loads increase. If a transformer registers changes in behavior, IOX applications can disable it and notify a technician before a serious problem occurs. Speed is critical, as delays in information processing might result in major power failure or injury. When addressing a potential opportunity with a utilities company, ask questions like, could automatic load balancing help avoid downtime? How quickly are you notified when transformers need repairs? As you can see, IOX delivers on the promise of IoT by turning data into action. But once you identify an opportunity in these or other industries, what should you do next? Bring the power of IOX to your customers with Cisco. Follow these 4 steps to deliver IOX to your customers. First, log your opportunity. This gives us visibility into the offer and location, and gives you access to support and services. Next, contact your Cisco account manager. If you don't know who your account manager is, you can find out in Partner Central. Contact Partner Support Services in your area for technical support. Find information on how to begin implementation and how to develop your own customer applications. Finally, stay connected to Cisco. Keep checking back so you can be the first to access new applications, application management, middleware services, SDKs, and capability phasing. Bring big data value to your customers with IOX. Thank you for taking the time to walk through this module. We looked at big data, fog computing, and Cisco IOX. This concludes our session. Next, you will look at Module A7, Recognizing Sales Opportunities.